Hello, my name is Nina, and in this tutorial I'll be showing you the 4 basic graphite pencil techniques and how to apply them to your art. Today I'll be using a HB pencil, a 6B pencil, a piece of paper, and a regular eraser. For the first technique, you have shading. But before we get to that, I want to explain you the differences between each graphite pencil. So the 6B pencil is going to come up much darker than our HB, and you're just going to go from pressing roughly. As you can see, the 6B comes out pretty dark compared to your normal pencil, while HB pencil technically does tend to look a little lighter than your normal pencil. As you can see, there's a stark difference of the colors of black that you see. To start off your shading, we're going to make a crescent moon around part of your sphere that we will be making. From there, I'm gonna gently start with the side of your pencil, filling in that space. And as you go along, you're gonna want to make your brush stroke lighter, or your pencil stroke I should say, to where it's going to look as though it is a gradient. For this, you don't want many layers, and you can rotate the paper as you like. And as you notice, as the 6B pencil is starting to lighten up, you're going to switch to your HB pencil to go into the lighter shadows. And you want to keep one spot pretty white, because that will be your shadows, your highlights. And you just want to make sure by the end of it that everything looks as clean and smooth as possible. As you can see, there's that stark difference of layer there, but we will correct that once I am done doing the basic highlights of this. We're going to go back in with our 6B pencil and just kind of clear up that little layering that we had earlier. The technique is hashing and cross-hatching. So you will take your 6B pencil, and along the line of the circle, you're going to make little lines. And hatching, I would say, is one of the more trust the process types of pencil techniques. And you'll just, again, your strokes, instead of your pencil getting lighter, you'll draw fewer and fewer strokes until you kind of reach that point. And you want to go over and over again on the parts you want darker, so you can make it look like it has that shadow. And I will go back in with the 6B just to give it a little more definition. But you want to make sure you press lightly, or it will cause too much of a difference. And there you go. Now, for cross hatching, you're going to do the same thing that you did, but you're going to stop halfway. Because then, you know what? Cross that out. You're going to go the full way. And then you're going to take the same part and you're just going to go the direct opposite way from where you were going. And again, you just have to trust the process and keep adding more and more layers until you're happy with what you've done. Our third technique is our messiest technique. So if you do not like to use your hands or get your hands dirty, I do not recommend using this technique. I know. That technique is blending. So you know how I said we did not want layers in that shading technique? Well, now we do, but don't make them super defined. So I'm just kind of outlining my circle. And I'm pressing pretty hard, and I'll show you why later. And then you're just slowly gonna, again, lift up. It can be as messy as you like, because it's all gonna fade out later. And just again, keep going till it's nice and rounded, and then just keep adding a little more dark in places you want. More shadow. Now, the dirtier part is you're going to take the pad of your index finger and pretty roughly you're just going to rake your finger along the sphere you've made. And as you can see, why I wanted it darker in the first place is you're going to get that residue on your finger, and that's what you want, because it will allow the circle to blend more. And I did go over my entire highlight, and I will explain why in just a moment. And you're going to go over it multiple times, just to get a little more blended, and you can add an erase color if you need. Alright, now for our little highlight, we are going to take our eraser and we're going to just erase out that little highlight right there. And then kind of blend it in again, but kind of brings that roundness back into the photo, or the picture I should say. And there is your third technique. Our fourth technique is scribbling, and I will use my HB pencil. And it's a very simple technique. You're just going to scribble in the places you want more shadow. This is best for really textured pieces. Cross hatching, though it is textured, you want to use it for more linear things such as straight hair and wood grooves, while a scribble technique, you can use it practically for anything like bark, curly hair, benches, even water if you would like to. Scribbling is usually used in alternative pieces or pieces that are abstract or don't have clear definition. However, for this piece you do not want to erase anything because it takes away the effect. And you're just going to keep on scribbling in the places you want darker. As you can see, you see the sphere start to form. Though it may not look perfect, that's the point. This I would not recommend using in realism though, unless it's in smaller details. And there you go. First photo I'll be showing is a sketch of a whimsical or almost dreamlike place. So I chose to do a subway with flowers on the bottom. And as you can see, these grassy areas are depicted with hashes just to give it a little texture and a little more flavor to an empty space. I also use hashing here and here to just create some darker values to help contrast the whiteness. And then again, I use hashing in the rain, that is right here. And then, but I mostly use scribbling. I mostly use shading in almost just regular pencil lines. For instance, here, this could be depicted as regular shading, while this is cross-hatching. And the shading I used for mainly larger shadows and larger details that I do not want it to be as prominent, per se, as the blush on this girl's cheeks. And I again use cross-hatching in this feather right here where I made the lines go either way in hopes of giving it a little more texture than just these linear movements. The second piece is a completely scribbled piece. As you can see, I was going for a more abstract and really not concrete look. So I added just a bunch of scribbles in the shadows that I wanted, and I even added scribbles here to show that the way didn't have just a perfect form, that it was moving and constantly moving in the photo. And I still add some scribbles here to signify that the ocean was down below and this wave was creeping up. The last photo I will show you is one of an eye. This one I used a lot of shading and blending. I use blending, as you see here, because there's that fade, that smoothness that you don't quite see in shading. And I used blending in the eye. That dark to light contrast was mainly made from blending, with some eraser and some little adds of shading on the outlines of the eye to give it more depth. And I did use different values to just make the eye pop. And as you can see, the eyelashes, I would like to note that anything you do can be added on. For instance, doing one layer of eyelashes doesn't give it that realism effect, because in reality, there are multiple different different parts of eyelashes that are either in front of or behind the eye. And again, using the shading in a circular motion so you get that more rounded off shape in the eye. And again, I did use a little scribbling to give it a little bit of a more realistic, a little bit messier look, so I could get more texture and more out of that eye instead of having it just a gradient of color. Thank you so much for watching. I've attached some videos in case you need just a little extra help in explanation or in understanding how you can apply the graphite pencils techniques to your art. Thanks again.